Welcome, Sojourners, to the Women's Leadership Mindset series presented by Teresa K. Page, LLC. My name is Teresa Page. I am your host and looking forward to spending these next few moments with all of you. We have a lot of work to get done on today, but first, allow me to invite you to connect with me by subscribing to my website and YouTube channel. Connect and follow me on LinkedIn, and always feel free to contact me directly via email at teresakpagellc@outlook.com. So what is our goal? Well, as an author, speaker, coach, and mentor, my mission is to help professional women renew their leadership mindset with fresh fire and purpose through the mediums of leadership development and coaching services. However, the Women's Leadership Mindset series is a new initiative intended to spotlight powerful women leaders and how they serve the world through their professions and purpose. So with the goal to help women realize their unfulfilled dreams and re-energize the leaders they always were, this platform is designed to enhance, empower, educate, equalize, and even emancipate as our special guests share their entrepreneurial stories, provide valuable resources, and guidance in a caring, professional, and impactful manner. So, let's get down to business. Well, all right. In today's video, it is my pleasure to welcome to my virtual stage Ingrid Desormes, founder of Seed to Tree Business Solutions of West Palm Beach, Florida. Ingrid Desormes has spent over a decade guiding individuals through the most vulnerable moments of their lives as a patient-centered healthcare provider. Her strength in nonverbal communication allowed her to help countless patients move from silence to expression. Her compassionate, science-driven, and deeply empathetic approach made patients feel seen and understood, even when unable to use words. Where healthcare providers saw limits, Ingrid saw potential, helping her patients achieve goals that were deemed impossible. Today, Ingrid applies the same transformative vision to empower high achievers. She understands the hidden costs of success, the imbalance, the burnout, the constant tug of more. Her personal journey led to the development of her signature three-pillar framework, a simple yet profound system that turns aspiration into effortless achievement. As the founder of Seed to Tree Business Solutions, Ingrid helps people committed to greatness find clarity, balance, and sustainable success. Her work is a testament to the power of alignment, proving that when you focus on what matters most, extraordinary growth becomes inevitable. So to contact Ingrid, you may reach her at www.seedtotreebusinesssolutions.com. You can connect with her via email at ingrid@seedtotreebusinesssolutions.com. You may also contact her via phone at 561-722-5970. And you can connect with her on LinkedIn at Ingrid-Desormes, Facebook at Ingrid-Desormes, on Instagram, Seed to Tree B Solutions, as well as on YouTube at Seed to Tree Business Solutions. Now, we'll bring all of this information back to you a little later, along with Ingrid's free gift before we go. But first, let me say, welcome, Ingrid. How are you?
Oh, I'm so excited to be here, Teresa. I was elated when I was able to sign up to be on your show. I love the people that you attract, and I find them to be the most under-supported individuals on the planet. So I love that you're out here serving them and allowing them a space to be able to get exactly the nourishment they need in this wonderful format. So thank you so much for being a voice and a space where people can feel the support that you offer.
Thank you so much, Ingrid. And I'm so excited about what you're going to bring to the audience to help nourish them as well with the work that you do. Now, Ingrid, I'm so excited about our conversation. I love our one-on-one. I love the work that you're doing as far as helping people to achieve what it is that they want to be able to do in their lives effortlessly. So I'm looking forward to our conversation. So let's go ahead and get down to business. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh, wonderful. So I am Haitian American. So we all know that that upbringing is full of discipline and structure and intensity. And I grew up in Orlando, which was great. Went to the University of Central Florida, where I acquired my master's degree in speech language pathology. Um, that led me into a career of healthcare. So I was the woman that would go in, seeing patients, helping them regain their skills with communication as well as with eating, because both of those muscles work together, for eating or for talking. But of course, that also played into who the person was in terms of how their brains functioned. So there was a lot of scientific analysis. Now, that's great within the science of speech language pathology, but I found that the healthcare research base neglected the diverse clients that I have, and there was a gap for cultural sensitivity. And being that I'm sensitive as a culturally diverse person, I absolutely was like, oh, we're going to have to do this in a creative way. So I ended up calling myself the scientist in the room, achieving functional goals for my patients in the context of their lives and optimizing their ability to achieve it through small, incremental, and consistent support. I realized, however, that the diligence of that and the time that it takes didn't align with the business model of healthcare that is going on right now. So the patients that really needed that additional time to embed that support with educating doctors or other healthcare professionals wasn't really there. You had to go, 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 churn, churn, churn. And by the end of the pandemic, I was burnt to a crisp. I had been advocating with all of my poor little heart as this person that's like a healer. I always identified my value with healing. I was like, I've got to do for everybody else, as many, many, many of us understand and can relate to. It is such a embedded, genetic, downloaded thing, because what were we when you think back over the 400 years that we've been on this side of the world, is that we were always serving someone else's goals. So it made sense that that aligned with me. And that's exactly what I did, to the point of extreme burnout. And I blew up once I saw that too many people that looked like me struggled, and I burnt out. So I left because I blew up and I burnt out. I was like, take this license, I'm done. I don't want healthcare anymore. And then I really started a healing journey within myself and trying to figure out what's next. And that is when I started to kind of explore who I was outside of the external validation of helping others. And I took a few jobs for a couple years, and I was not aligned with corporate America. I felt like that was equally, if not more so, toxic, based on the double tongue of corporate language. They say one thing, but actually mean something else. And as a blunt first generation Haitian child, I did not work well with that. I think I was a little too transparent and a little too blunt, and I just couldn't assimilate at that time. I was baked in to being this person that was like, this is bad. Like, this don't work for me at all. So I then decided to generate a business, and I went into it with that, again, service, healing heart. And I'm like, let me go ahead and help people. But I lacked clarity. I really did. I didn't know how I wanted to help them. I'd never been in business before. So I rushed in with this idea and I'm like, I can figure it out as I go. And I'm like, oh, no, I can't. No, I can't. I learned within the first year, no, it actually needs a bit of time to clarify because you want to understand, especially if you're going into leaving the W-2, which I call like my teenage year where somebody's giving me allowance, to now I'm in my adult phase of financial freedom and can build whatever I want. I need to know what's going to be the thing that I'm an expert in to gift people with. So it took actually stopping my life, leaving the country, going to Turkey, and learning where I shined. And as I lived in a place where I did not speak the language, and I'm a communication expert, I was like, oh, it's nonverbal language, which makes sense because Black people, for as long as I know, we speak with our face and our body language and our tone and all of that. Like, that's why Keke Palmer is so exciting because she just be saying stuff with her eyes and her body. And she, Rose. I mean, so many of us know her for saying that. So I locked into understanding that. And then I recognized, so what am I non-verbally saying to myself? Do I love myself? Am I kind to myself? Am I patient with myself? Or do I always feel like I got to hustle, churn, and do for financial stability and all of that? And so all that being clarified allowed me to create the 3-pillar system of like, this is the right order. Let's go ahead and work on our personal development, make sure that I am centered. And then that just made goal achieving for everything for myself so much easier. And the success I had with being financially achieving and hitting my goals was great. Personal development and professional development, that was great, but nothing tops achieving the goal of personal development and finding a space of peace and calmness in every single day that I live in. There is nothing that beats that. So I want to be able to make sure that people have that first and foremost.
Well, Ingrid, that is amazing. And thank you for giving us some insight about your life. There were several things that you really talked about that I want you to just indulge me and to go down a couple of bunny trails because I want you to revisit. I want us to revisit. So hang with me a little bit, a little bit. So one of the things that you mentioned about when you were active in the traditional healthcare system, you talked about the gaps in regards to cultural sensitivity. I had never heard that term before. So for our listeners, can you give us a little bit more insight about what you mean about cultural sensitivities and maybe how communities of color or minorities would be able to kind of be able to pick that up and what they can possibly do about it in the existing healthcare system. Can you talk a little bit about that for just a few moments?
Absolutely. So, as we all know, we come from a country that has a racial blind spot in research. So when they talk about the norms of any element of science, it's typically been studied by a white male. The majority and the overwhelming science was executed that way for so much of this country's history because women and other diverse groups were not allowed to be part of that scientific process. So when they're applying solutions, it's usually within the normative information that was scientifically studied by individuals that didn't actually study us for our health, for our benefit in the different backgrounds that we all have in this country. It's very narrow. So in the particular science of speech language pathology, for example, when we do a battery of testing with somebody that has a stroke and trying to figure out how to help them. If Haitian Creole is their first language, that test immediately becomes moot because never was it studied on a Haitian speaking person with that as the first language. So you have to get very creative in the moment and become a scientist and go, I understand this fundamental thing, but it's just going to help me inform myself as I navigate this particularly to you. And so, although they do translations in Spanish, for example, there's still a difference in cultural language. So, just translating isn't enough. There's more to how language is developed than swapping out the word in English to that native tongue. So that's really what I was identifying as a healthcare provider. Now, to combat that, we do want to look for providers that are more interested in those diverse studies that are coming out more recent, because there are more recent practitioners studying and providing case studies and allowing more objective information to come out for the diverse background. And it's also very beneficial to deal with a healthcare provider that honestly looks like you, because they're interested in you, because they're interested in themselves. And we forget that we operate within that scope, that naturally we will gravitate to what is like us, that relates to us. And so that is not excluded in the healthcare field. So taking a little time to ask those key questions. How much do you understand the science of my cultural background, including Black American versus White American versus Hispanic American? The more you're able to ask those questions for clarity, like what are the standards or the norms that you're using to give me this medication? Is it related to me, or is it just the norm of the country, which is predominantly studied as white male or white female? So that's what you really have to do to defend yourself in the medical process as best as you can and gain the information of, is this doctor really about me? Or am I about to get some things that don't align with me so that I have all these side effects? So it's not going to be a perfect system, but it is going to help improve your particular experience in it.
I love that. Being able to take some ownership and asking those questions with your provider. So I want to say thank you for giving us some insight about that. You also talked about the, especially post-COVID, that we know that our healthcare providers, I mean, big ups to our healthcare system as we navigated through such a terrible time in our recent history. Um, what would you say for those? And I know that you have emancipated to something great, and we're going to get into your business in just a little bit. But for those who are still in the space, we know that providers, healthcare providers, or those who love to serve others, sometimes they put themselves on the very back burner. What would you say for those who are still active in the healthcare space, how they can make sure that they can take care of themselves if they're feeling burnout, or to maybe prevent that burnout? What would you say to them for those who haven't necessarily taken a step out of that traditional healthcare system? What would you give them as far as some high level tips on how to take care of themselves before burnout happens?
I really think a great deep dive in understanding your narratives that you are offering within yourself. We all talk to ourselves. We all have conversations with ourselves. We'd be in the shower like, what's going to go on with Timmy in the ICU or whatever, you know. And in general, lots of us have these internal narratives, and sometimes they're like whispers, right? So in healthcare, especially because we're always in a space of continuing education and in a hierarchy where someone has more authority than we do, we tend to feel the sensation that we're not enough and we're undervaluing ourselves. And so identifying your internal narrative of how are you talking to yourself, that is going to reflect in how you're showing up for work. The idea that patients matter more than you is a pervasive problem in healthcare. We want to save the entire world because we love patients. We want to do our best for them. But the truth about healthcare is that patients will be slighted no matter how much you try to climb uphill. And the best healthcare providers are the ones that are kind to themselves in making sure they don't overextend fighting the scenario. Instead, go with the current of the trauma and just hold the people up as best as you can while you teach them techniques to survive. It's like being in a rushing water, like rapid water kayak, and you're in the water and you've learned how to flip over on your back and you're watching people drown next to you. Just teach them how to turn over. Give them the same technique, offer them some lift, do what you can in that, then shut it down when you go home. Literally shut it down when you go home, and then provide yourself with a nice, peaceful opportunity. Now, how do you do that when you're a mother or a father and a parent and a sibling and a cousin to this person that's trying to get at you? Those elements start with my self-care needs to be identified by the people who love me as well. I don't want to make them responsible for taking care of me. So they have to sacrifice me so I can take care of myself. Meaning, I'm going to go do something for myself for an hour or two. And the reality is, when you unburden your environment from taking care of you, and you're an expert at taking care of people, that care is going to be high quality. You are going to take care of yourself so well that then your internal narrative is going to be great. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I gifted myself this time. I feel so much more at peace. My emotions are more regulated. I can handle some of these stressful instances that are occurring in my life, because you made the decision, hey, I don't want to make you responsible for taking care of me. I actually want to take care of myself, and it's going to require you to sacrifice me for a time so that so that I'm not somebody's significant other, so that I'm not somebody's parent, so that I'm not somebody's family member, so that I'm just myself working to care for myself in my own way, and have it be a consistent and regular experience, not just I'm going on vacation for a week, or I'm just doing a pedicure once a month, or I'm getting, no, this has to be a consistent dedication, because that is what allows you to understand non-verbally that you matter, that you love yourself, and that you deserve the time that it takes to enjoy yourself.
Absolutely. I absolutely love that. And thank you for giving us that perspective and that insight. And I love the way you said to unburden others from having to take care of us. So I absolutely love that. And that kind of leads me into my next question. You stepped out of that healthcare space. You said you was burnt out and you was out of there. But you also needed to take the time to that you had to go on a healing journey for yourself. You did share with us that you took a little bit of time to step outside of the country and all of those other kind of things. Just as you move forward in starting your business, taking this time out to go on this journey to make sure that you're healed within, can you tell us what was the importance of that for you? Why is that important for those of us, and especially entrepreneurs who are usually coming out of a particular workspace where we're someone else's employee, but we're looking to go into that entrepreneurial space? But we do need that little bit of time of reprieve for healing, for maybe self-reflection, and as you mentioned earlier, maybe gaining clarity. Can you tell us why that is important, especially for entrepreneurs who are stepping out of that employee space into that founder, into that CEO, into that leadership position as an entrepreneur over their own business? Why is that necessary?
I love that question. And I actually want to walk it back just a bit. I did not originally know that when I built my business. I built my business as I was already burnt out from my previous career and then going into jobs in corporate America. And I just was still focused on stable income because I was like, even though I had some level of stability in other financial ventures that allowed me to be okay and I can financially maintain myself, there was something innate in me that said, but I still got to go out and make money. And resting was not an option. So I pushed myself into creating a business in the burnout state. And I chose a position in which I was serving individuals and doing everything I could because I was smart. I can do anything I set my mind to. I can, but is it the best? No. Am I an expert in everything? No. Did it reflect? Yes. And so that first year was like, I can be good, but I'm really interested in being the top of the top. So as I recognized that things were not working the way I wanted to for my business and in my personal space with relationships of people around me, I'm literally thinking, what is going on, Ingrid? And I hard stop said, I think I'm asking too much of my environment to show up the way that I show up, which is loving and giving and nurturing. The environment is inconsistently coming back at me with just flash moments of love and care and finances and all of that. And I had to emotionally battle with that. It felt so inconsistent with me. Like it felt incongruent. Like I didn't feel aligned. So I literally was like, if I want to love myself, what is the first thing that I would want? Like if I want somebody to love me, what would I want? I would want them to say, let me take you away and give you some rest. And so I was like, okay, Ingrid, let me take Ingrid away and give you some rest
Right.
because I'm fully capable of taking myself away. Genuinely, what is stopping me other than my built-in amazing father's mantra, save your money, save your money, save your money, save your money. And I'm like, I cannot take this with me. And I am not okay. Something is broken. And because I also understand history, the nation, the fabric of this country is built on inconsistencies, incongruencies. It will tell you one thing and operate a different way. That is how everybody is raised. We are aware that they try to convince you of one thing, but really there's something else behind the mirror or the mask or the curtain or however you want to phrase it. We are part of a country that is built like that in every space we're in. It's pervasive. And so that nonverbal language was tagging me everywhere. I was just hearing it because I'm so sensitive to that frequency. Once hearing that, I'm like, I gotta go to a place that's a little bit more aligned with when people say something, they do it. You know, they genuinely are comfortable with trust. They're genuinely comfortable with generosity. They're genuinely comfortable with connection. And I don't have to earn it. I don't have to work for it. I don't have to fight for it. I just get to be. I get to be. And so the 2.5 months that I was away, I just showed up and people were so nice to me and so generous with me and so kind to me and so consistent with me. I was like, oh, it's just the environment. It's just the environment. Okay. All right. Cool, 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 cool. I get it now. So the why of the necessity was because my life wasn't moving in the way that I wanted to. And I needed time to reflect on understanding what the issue was because I'm a scientist. I'm naturally curious. I'm interested in solving problems. That's the reason my business name is Solutions. Like I genuinely solve problems my entire adult life, and I'm scientific about it. I use methods and strategies and structure, and I was recognizing I'm not achieving my goal. There's something that I'm not getting. And without distance and rest and reflection, I'm never going to see it because I'll be too busy reacting in my natural format to survive instead of spending time planning for my future and understanding these things are likely going to happen and creating contingencies for all those things. So the distance gave me that, and that's the reason I felt it was important for me to execute. I was not getting what I wanted. That was the why to step away and figure out how to do so. Because I know I can get goals. I have a lifetime of it. And something was not working over these last few years. I got to fix this. This is out of lockstep with who I am. This is not who I am. So that was the important why for me.
Well, that's awesome, and I'm glad you took that time away to gain that clarity for yourself. So let's get down into the nitty and the gritty of your business. Now, seed to tree business solutions. Let's talk about it. Tell us a little bit about your business, who you serve, and what are prospective clients to expect working with Ingrid.
Wonderful. So it basically, I thought of the name seed, two, the number two, and tree, because I always think that we work in partnership, right? So there's the two component. We can work as a collaborative group, but a lot of us have not actually gotten ourselves into a position where we recognize what is causing us to be held back, especially as a high achiever. And so I really hone in on people that are like me, that are high achievers, that are used to getting their financial goals, but still find a sense of burnout or strain to their lives, deep frustration, some level of like I'm stuck and I can't seem to figure out why. I want to pivot, but is it worth this sacrifice? These individuals that are really motivated and interested and also wicked smart, those are the people I most align with in terms of my program because of the fact that I am solving the solution that best served me. I'm providing that solution that best served me. When I think about the consistent problem across the board, it is in our relationship with ourselves. We set goals, we set desires, and we just dream about them. So our bodies are non-verbally responding to us saying, I want to be able to travel, but I never traveled. And your body's like, okay, I don't believe you anymore. You are not in line with what you're saying. And once you get to a position where you actually speak something and make strategic steps to get it that are feasible, not all over the place, not 15 different ones, but one, because that's all you need is one. If you believe yourself, you don't need 15 contingency plans. You only need the one plan, put all your energy into it, and you won't doubt yourself. But we doubt ourselves because there are nonverbal actions that we have taken, whether it be, I want to go to the gym, and then you're not really consistently going to the gym, down to, I want to get this promotion, and yet you keep not getting that promotion, or I want to build this business, or I want to grow this business to a 7, 8 figure, business. and yet you're not able to get there. Or I want to scale this business after you've grown it. Those elements will tell us we are not doing our due diligence to guarantee the goal. And so our minds and our bodies are incongruent. We feel like we're lying to ourselves. We doubt ourselves. Imposter syndrome comes in with that nasty voice that says, you're not going to get anything that you want. And we have to combat it like, I believe, I believe. But if your actions don't align, you don't really believe, and you're going to be spinning your wheels with words. I always liken it to dating. You're dating somebody, they keep talking at you with all these words, but you don't see them showing up. You gonna believe them?
No.
And you see it clear as day with them, but inside yourself, you don't. And so what ends up being attracted to you is the incongruency within yourself. But
Yeah.
when you tell yourself the truth and you stand on it, I mean, 10 toes down, stand on it, and you stay locked in because you did a measurable amount. You're not trying to get there fast, you're just trying to get there. So you take a measurable amount that takes into consideration all the things of your life, your personal well-being, your financial well-being, your professional development, and that well-being. If you take that all into consideration and create one new feasible goal, you will achieve it faster than you ever thought possible. And so that can apply to anyone who kind of cycles through their belief that they're inconsistent. And I also always clarify for individuals, consistency is not your problem because you are consistently inconsistent. What you need to do is adjust that. And it makes sense that you're consistently inconsistent because you're always surviving. So you have to always respond to the environment you're in. That makes complete sense to me. That means you have to be flexible and make adjustments. But when you're really, really in a position where you're like, I don't actually want to respond to the environment anymore, and I want to achieve something, that means you have to reapply the consistency you're so used to doing in survival mode and apply it to planning. But because it's a new muscle, do it in small doses. Do it in achievable doses that don't overtax the life that you're living.
Absolutely. So with your organization, Seed to Tree Business Solutions, how do you help your high achieving clients to bring all of those, to correct those inconsistencies so that their mind, body, and their actions are actually in alignment from a high level? What are some of the programs to help them bring all of these measures to where they're seeing the success and the achievement that they're looking for?
Perfect question. I actually have people go through the accountability sequence. 90 days is very, very much the opportunity for you to build a new muscle. Just like if you were to go to the gym for 90 days consistently, your body's going to look different. There's no other option. So I start most of my clients there unless they've already understood the foundational muscle, right? I'm not going to take you to bodybuilding land when you are coming in first day on the gym. So I start with that accountability just so that I can see where you are, and I get you structured for those additional levels. So the additional levels usually have to go in with business owners or people who are interested in owning a business, which are the messaging package, which is about communication, which is my expertise, whoop, 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 verbal, nonverbal, we got it. And then the big kahuna is you have a lot on your plate. Let me go ahead I know you in and out at this point as a business owner. Let me go ahead and get you with that graphic designer you need. I'll set up that meeting for you. You don't have to take any time off your plate. I'm gonna go ahead and knock this out, and it's gonna come. You don't even have to pay for it because it's part of the stipend in which you have, you have given me. So you're just gonna get all these experts on your team that are properly vetted by myself, and making sure that you and your messaging and all of that gets executed with a nice fluid process. But I first start with that. Okay, you need to graduate accountability first. We need to get you clear on your personal goals, like how you want to feel in the inside of your body, as well as, do you want land, you want to travel, you want to be spiritual, more spiritually connected, you want a stronger community. We start with that long-term goal. Then we move to your financial goal. How much money do you see for yourself in this amount of time frame? And then the professional development, which are two separate things. What are you an actual expert in? And do you know anything about business ownership? Because those are separate. And if you do not have business experience, do not open a business and rush in. Please get a business coach. I guarantee you it will save you a lot of time, money, and mistakes. Okay? But if you have an expertise, we can clarify that. And so I move people through the accountability period to pay homage to their process, which is, we're starting from scratch. First, let's get some financial literacy up in here, because unless you've managed millions of dollars and have passive income, then you need that book. The one that I've been highly recommending is from John Hope Bryant, because he's so passionate about financial literacy, and it's Financial Literacy for All. And I just stumbled, which was so excited. It was Priceless Facts About Money that was written by a Black woman. What is her name? Hold on one second. I think I have it here. Melody Hobson, that's her name. So Financial Literacy for All by John Hope Bryant, and Priceless Facts About Money from Melody Hobson. I love both of those books. They give you a lot of information about financial literacy. Knowing how to make money is not the same thing as being financially literate about it. And
Yep.
every person needs this foundational information. So if you can show consistency in executing that, getting some great knowledge, then we can build from there, whatever you're looking for.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And before we shift from this space, in regards to your organizations, how do prospective clients typically find you? How do people connect with you?
I'm a big girl on word of mouth. I love that. However, like, I like when trusted people talk about me, like, you trust me, then they gonna trust me, then everybody's gonna trust me. This is good. I'm also available on all the social platforms. I reach out on TikTok. I'm very accessible through my cell phone. Like, people, if you text me, if you call me, I respond. I do not play with my people, because I understand the importance of being present for this process. I'm the only expert in my business at this moment that's a communication expert. And so I better stand 10 toes down on that. Yeah, that's what I talk about. So I am great at communication. I don't ghost. I don't play around. I don't okey doke. I'm right there. And the rest of the people that I have on my team, they manage the other areas where I don't have expertise. So I love having that support to help me move through what's necessary for my people. But in regards to getting in touch with me, the number one success is always my cell phone or my email, because I look at both of those every day.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, Ingrid, I am so enjoying our conversation and the insights that you have given us into your world, as far as, and as well as in your organization. Now, as you know, this is the Women's Leadership Mindset Series podcast. And I have a true belief that every woman is a leader, and that she has a particular influence over a particular domain, a cause, a people, territory, or even a region. So how would you describe, in your own words, the kind of leader that you are?
A compassionate one. I genuinely understand the capacity of us all is not the same, but the drive to do and be more than we were yesterday is exactly the same. And it is my responsibility to compassionately meet you where you are and not assume that we are exactly alike, because it's likely we are not.
Absolutely, absolutely. And how do you want future generations? Because I know you're a young woman yourself, but for the work that you're doing today, the foundations that you're laying today for high achievers and all of that, how would you like future high achievers or future generations to benefit from the work that you're doing right now today?
I genuinely think that people identifying their nonverbal language towards themselves and finding a way to be kinder to themselves and how they talk to themselves despite the environment. I absolutely want people to experience that generationally for the rest of their lives, because I do feel like the environment tries so hard to harm us, and then we adopt it and we generate the language that self harms. So I want for future generations to benefit from the expertise of recognizing, nah, it's not you. It's not you. And you do have the capacity to change it. You just have to be aware of it. And maybe you haven't been. And even if you've heard it from other people, maybe the way I'm saying it, because of the style in which I approach communication, is laser focused enough for you to connect with the fact that you're not actually the problem, but you do need to change how you speak to yourself, and understand that you can do whatever you set your mind to, as long as you stay committed and understand that it's a journey and not a sprint. It's a journey.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Ingrid, I personally believe, as you know, that I am really passionate about employing love as that ultimate success factor
Mhm.
to renew women's leadership mindset. So, in a lot of ways, I believe that love is that the effectual power of love is that remedy or one of the remedies to help combat whether it's self harm or negative self talk. But I also believe that love is also for us as entrepreneurs that game changer
Mm.
that gives us that edge to be innovative in our business structures or powerful as leaders or help us to be present for our clients, our stakeholders, as well as being knowledgeable about our industries, what we do, becoming experts, and being benevolent to the communities that we serve.
Mhm.
So, how would you say, as that compassionate leader, how has love tangibly shaped you?
I will say, as a woman who lost her mother at 4 years old, the love I felt in the aspects of spirituality seemed to have always provided me a cushion and a comfort that protected me from sinking too deeply into the environmental aspects of not being loved, because the environment don't always demonstrate love towards people that look like me. There's always a sense that I am a problem. But that spiritual blanket, that relationship with speaking to my mother, speaking to my ancestors, speaking to God, doing that work, and understanding that I'm part of a fabric that's much bigger than myself, and feeling that love deep down and never, ever, ever severing that connection, because, I was of her body and she was of my grandmother's body and my grandmother was of her. And I just kept hold of that. It allowed me to remember who I am.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That is really powerful. Thank you for sharing that with us. Now, Ingrid, as we prepare to downshift, your entire conversation was really focused in on how that we can make sure that our bodies believe us. Making sure, and I love the way that you said that we're telling ourselves these nonverbal cues, that we tell ourselves these things, but if we're not doing it, how our bodies will stop believing us. um,
Mhm.
as we all endeavor to make sure that our mind, our body, and our actions are in alignment, and we go on to achieve those things that we have always dreamed of, what tip, what encouragement, or what resource would you give to someone who has not stepped into that dream career or that dream business? They haven't taken the steps to make that reality. What tip, what encouragement, or resource would you give them to say, you're worth taking this leap and go ahead and start moving towards that in measurable increments? What would you tell them?
I genuinely love experts. And so I have a tendency to ask people to become experts on their own bodies. So there's a wonderful neuroscientist, psychologist. He is out of the Netherlands. His name is Bessel van der Kolk, and he wrote this book called The Body Keeps Score. And that book, he's a trauma therapist. He actually, really was the initial educator in this. He's been doing it since the 80s. I mean, the man has done all kinds of different interventions that we now employ today, which is incredible. And I loved him on actually the podcast Diary of a CEO, and that's where I discovered him, which was back in the winter, December of 2024.
Mm.
That resource is the game changer of understanding what your body is doing so that you can course correct that, because that's actually what's getting in the way of your achievement, not your inconsistencies. It's just you're focusing too much on the symptom of inconsistency when really you're consistent, just in the wrong lane. It's not that you're inconsistent, but it's in the wrong lane. So when you are identifying traumas or reliving things or getting triggered, that's that body keeping score, and then looking for that subconscious confirmation. Like, if I mention a red Nissan, guess what you're going to be seeing every time you go on the road is a red Nissan. So that book identifies how our body is looking to confirm some of the things that have been harming us in the past, which then inform our future and cause us not to achieve in the future. When really we need to shut the door and say goodbye and have a new perspective for the future. So that resource is a tremendous one, and one I would highly recommend.
Awesome, awesome. Now let's talk about for those who are already living the dream, and but they're feeling that frustration, they're feeling a little stuck. What would you say to them to help them push forward? What tip, encouragement, or resource would you give to them?
If there is a sense of feeling stuck, there's absolutely something that's not the dream. The surface looks great, but something internally is out of alignment. And it could be what you're doing every day, could be who you're serving every day, but you do have to identify, why am I so unhappy? And I personally enjoy journaling to do so. Some people enjoy voice notes. Some people enjoy reading and connecting with other people that are like them. And so when somebody else says it, they identify with it. But exploring why there is some sensation that is making you feel off or unable to continue to progress to where you're going, like there's some blockage to overcome, there's some exploration that needs to happen there. And it could be just a really good clarifying call. And you might identify it right in that moment. And so I think that is what has facilitated, oh, I'm aware. Okay, I got it now. And so it can be an internal process or a think tank process. So that's why I really like that for individuals that present really nicely, but have that secret internal, resistance that happens.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And you just mentioned about that clarifying call, which is a great segue for us to tell us about the free gift that you have for our listening audience. So you have a free 1 hour clarifying consult, making consistency effortless. Tell us about this free gift you have for our listening audience.
I really love a good clarifying call. Sometimes we have it with our girlfriends, but not everybody's really an expert in nonverbal language or verbal language. There's a lot that is being missed from the people that don't necessarily study it. So I provide it, and trust me, I've been giving it actually just for the month of January, and already my Google is lit up like a Christmas tree. People are very excited about this call because it gets to the heart of the matter, and I don't mince words, and it's out of the kindness of my heart. I am not sitting here trying to, bamboozle anybody, or, I really genuinely just want people to be a bit more clear on what's really going on.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And I believe you also have some new classes that's coming up. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that as well?
Yes, the Mandel West Palm Beach Library. I am so excited to be partnering with them. I'm going to be doing educationals for people in the community for free. They are 6 classes, and they will be providing that structure, that 3-pillar structure of personal development, financial development, and professional development to actually pace people the right way in whatever lane they're choosing for their ability to achieve what I call to be fuck you money, which is the goal, right? We all want we all want as much financial freedom as possible so that we're not stressed in our personal space or stressed in our professional experiences. We want to be able to provide generously and in wholeness. So this series that's going to be provided in the West Palm Beach area is really to focus in on how can we achieve the Michael Jordan status in our expertise, in our personal health, and be so exceptional that money is just attracted to us simply because we're able to execute that and do it in the right pacing, instead of how you see on social media, I made 100,000 in a day, or I built it overnight. These things are not the majority. And so I want to target the majority to have realistic expectations, because as much as we love Michael Jordan's success, we tend to ignore that he started at 16, had many years of not achieving elite. He had many of that. And what is really true to his success was being a student and being okay with building the expertise and having patience with that. And so that free series is meant to provide individuals with understanding. Let's get all things recalibrated, build you up, and within 1 to 3 to 5 to 10 years, your life is like going to hit the sky. Like, it'll be an easy, amazing experience.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, we want to make sure that we include information about your free gift as well as this upcoming free series in the bio. So, audience, we're going to look forward to that. Now, Ingrid, it was such an honor to be able to spend some time with you on today. I appreciate you taking time to go down with me with some of my bunny trails with those additional questions. I absolutely enjoyed that. Thank you so much. Now, as we prepare to wrap up, what are your final last words to our audience? What do you want us to leave with us on today?
I genuinely appreciate anybody who is really striving for their success, because we all deserve it. And sometimes I understand that we can be distracted by our experiences and we tend to naturally gravitate to the negative. That is who we are as people. But genuinely, with the progress that we've made from where we come from, acknowledge the blessings and be grateful that you have the opportunity to continue the legacy that was gifted to you, because how many people dreamed up the possibility of you goes back for so many centuries. It's ridiculous. And I honor the journey that it took to be the person you are. And I thank you for spending time with us today, listening to my little ramblings. And yeah, I hope to connect with any and all that are interested.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Ingrid. It was such an honor for you to join us on today. Well, ladies, we want to say thank you for joining us. Remember, you can connect with our guest, Ingrid, at her website at www.seed2treebusinesssolutions.com. Remember, you can also connect with her via email at ingrid@seed2treebusinesssolutions.com. You may reach her at 561-722-5970, and be sure that you connect with her via social media. You can connect with her on LinkedIn at Ingrid Desormes, Facebook at Ingrid.Desormes, on Instagram at Seed2Tree Solutions. You may also be sure to subscribe to her YouTube channel at Seed2Tree Business Solutions. And be sure to take full advantage of her complimentary gift, which is a free 1-hour clarifying consult, making consistency effortless. So to schedule an appointment, be sure to see the link in the bio on how to do so. And we'll also have more information about her free series that's coming up. So please also be sure to see that information in the bio as well. Now, leaders, do you have an important story to tell that would inspire others to step into their dream career or business? If so, check the bio to learn how to become one of my special guests. Now, the holidays is over, but it is still the most wonderful time of the year, and I want to help you to celebrate your loved ones and your team with the My Journey to Wholeness book series and gift collection, featuring my new book, My Journey to Wholeness, Love the Success Factor. To learn more, you can visit my author's corner at Teresa K page at squarespace.com to check out my new book sets, as well as my home decor, glassware, journals, sportswear, and so much more, all designed with inspiring messages to remind you of what love can empower you to do. Now, new subscribers to my website will receive a 10% promo code to utilize at checkout. So check the bio to learn more. So we want to say thank you all for joining us for another episode of the Women's Leadership Mindset series. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, here's to the journey, and let's move forward.